Okay, in our world, kids are always heroes. So Dana actually has created a product and a program where kids are empowered to become real heroes in real life.
Hi. First, I'd like to thank Wendy and everyone from Play Science for bringing me here today to share this project with you. It's a project that's very close to my heart. I'm going to knock everybody out with my noise. I want to start off by asking how many of you in this room have seen a child like this? How many of you have been a child like this? Okay. This is where the inspiration for this project came from. It came partly from deep inside of myself when I was a young girl and I wanted to change the world and be a hero, and I was inspired by things like Almighty Isis and the powerful women superheroes who were able to do amazing things. I'm sure that many of you felt the same way, and you start to get to a point in life where something about that inner superhero is somewhere buried down. And as a psychologist, I became very interested and wondered, where does our inner superhero go? So I have a theory, and that theory is that we introduce children. This is coming from Scholastic. This is for grades 3 and 4. We start introducing children to global challenges very early on. Things like the typhoons and hurricanes and the problems that we see around the world. Trouble in Syria, where in this article, if you were to read it, you would read about chemical weapons, you'd read about the refugee crisis. This is a lot of information, and it's important that our children know what's going on in the world. This is an extinction of species, so they're learning about global warming and the fact that polar bears are disappearing, and probably in their lifetime tigers will also disappear. Well, what is the problem with this? The problem is that the research shows that when people come to believe that the events and outcomes in their lives are mostly uncontrollable, what they do is they develop learned helplessness. So they begin to believe that they can't make a difference, that there's nothing that they can do. And so I believe that maybe they start to disengage right around the time when they actually wish that they could do something really powerful for the world. So my research in digital technology has shown that actually technology can be used as a digital cape, and that there is a new archetype. It's called the Cyberhero archetype, and that's in scientific journals and research, and currently coming out in a new book. And that the superpowers of digital technology mimic some of the powers that we're familiar with from the superhero genre. Things like super speed. We can be anywhere instantly. Omnilocation. I can be here and in multiple places around the world via video and links. There's dual persona and shape-shifting, so that's taking an avatar. There's also hyper-interconnectivity, so that's a new power that we have, that we sometimes see things that mimic that through telepathy and like the X-Men and other superhero genres. So the wonderful thing about this is that we can harness this technology and we can introduce it to children. And that's what the Cyberhero League is all about. So instead of posing the global challenges in a negative light, what we've done is think about them in the context of the Sustainable Development Goals. And in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, to give young people a way to tackle these challenges, what we've done is say they can do it through play. They can do this using GPS-enabled smartphones or wearables. And they do it through trying to earn the badges of existing nonprofit organizations. So instead of earning a merit badge like you do in a traditional scouting organization, in the Cyberhero League, you're aiming to earn the badges of nonprofit organizations. And how do you do that? So the way that you do this is you start off downloading our app, which it's not launched yet, but I'm going to get to that at the end. And then you choose, I'm going to use this water charity as an example from here on out. So let's just say you choose goal number 6 and you want to deal with water issues. Then you select a nonprofit partner that goes with that, the one that's pictured as Charity Water out of New York City. And then you begin the quest. And the quest sends you to locations near you. If you're in New York, for example, it might send you to the Met, where you'll pick up a digital artifact. If you're in another state, California, you might go to the Los Angeles Museum and you'll pick up an artifact there. But it doesn't end with museums. You can go to the national parks, you can go to science museums, you can go to observatories, you can attend community events, you can host your own event that supports the nonprofit organization. So it creates a community, an actual community for young people. So these artifacts also have the added benefit of that they're knowledge cards. So some of them are technology cards, some of them are notable people, some of them are culture cards. So it depends on where you're going. If you go to the Met, then you're going to get a culture card. If you go to a science museum, you'll probably get an inventor or a technology-related card. But there's also, here's some more of the cards. So you'll also see that the red card up there, that's the defiler. So this is what kind of adds a little bit more fun into the project. We have the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation in the sense that intrinsically children want to do good for the world. That's that CAPE. They're born wanting to, help other people, animals, and the environment at large. But they also kind of, through media, learn that they like to do battle. And so the defiler cards represent the things that are the problems. So in this particular example, that defiler is a pirate, but he represents cholera. So they start to learn what are some of the problems that are causing for water issues. So whether that's lead in the water, whether that's water pollution, or whether it's something that deals with sanitation, that's what they are battling. Here's a kind of a sample to show that they've earned the artifacts in the middle. And then once they've gotten the artifacts, then they've kind of got their team established, and they're able to start trying to defeat the defiler. And the wonderful thing is, once they do that, they get the badge of the nonprofit. So they have the pride and an extrinsic motivation is the badge. And then they also unlock the real construction of a well in the real world. So a portion of the money that's taken in goes back out through the nonprofit, but the player is the one who, or the players are the ones who get credit for the actions. So it will show up into their hideout and their feed that they actually constructed a well in the real world. And again, that goes across the board for whatever nonprofit we're dealing with. I mean, if it's an endangered species situation, then they would be saving habitat. One of our nonprofits is International Dark Sky Association, so they fight light pollution, protect nocturnal species, etc. And then, so what is the ROI of play with Cyberhero League? Well, it gets kids outside with the wearable technologies, so it encourages physical exercise. It encourages imaginative play. They can run around with their cape. They can play with their shields. They can have power necklaces. But all while they're playing, they're earning for the nonprofit organizations. This provides an alternative to the negative use of the internet. We hear an awful lot about cyberbullying and cybercrime, but we don't have a paradigm for the positive use of the internet. So that was the point of the cyberhero archetype in the beginning. And this introduces it to children so they grow up with an idea that they can use the internet in this way. And it gives them real civic accomplishment, so they're able to participate in achieving global goals. And finally, it is a holistic education approach because they're introduced to educational material across the STEAM sectors. And I like to say we add the E of empathy and or social emotional learning so that they're learning to help people, animals, and the planet as they grow up. And they're given a way to do it. So they're not just hearing about the crisis without having a way to take action. So they're not going to develop learned helplessness if they have access to a platform such as this. And And finally, where we are right now is doing our very first pilot test in New York this weekend at the Tribeca Family Festival. If anyone's in the New York area, we invite you to come to J Street and join us. Thank you.